Hello humans! Today I wanted to talk about this little guy right here, which I recently found at a local hunting supply store. So this is the Fenix E03R, I think? E03R? Something like that. It's an all-metal keychain flashlight. It is apparently 22 grams, fair enough, especially for all metal, but it's also quite small, so you'd expect it to be very light. Limited lifetime warranty probably just means if you discover a defect in the manufacturing in 20 years, we'll replace it for you with whatever the modern model is. It has red and white light sources, Type-C charging port, which is something we need on everything. All flashlights should be rechargeable, and Type-C should be on everything rechargeable at this point. It claims 260 lumens, 42 meters of beam distance, okay, and an all-metal housing body. Is there anything else of interest on here? Those are Canadian dollars. They are worth basically $0 American dollars. It has its expected output at different on its different settings. So like output in eco mode is apparently 5 lumens, but it'll do it for 18 hours. Yeah, if you're interested, there's a bunch of stats. I'm not going to read them all out specifically. It is made in China, and I don't see a Proposition 65 warning, which I actually quite like. Alright, let's pop this guy open and see what there is to see. Today's tool is going to be my Victorinox. Okay, so the packaging material is cardboard, which I like, over plastic for most of the body, which just makes it harder to cut unnecessarily. Yeah, you can see the cardboard is actually doing nothing. I would rather just have plastic packaging at this point. Alright. So, in this sort of rear section, we have, I'm assuming this folding roadmap is going to, okay, here's our warranty card. I'm assuming that's a keyring in a little poo bag. And then we have our warranty card, which, in all of the different languages, which is probably a good thing. With documented manufacturing defects within 15 days of purchase. Okay. It will repair a light free of charge within 5 years of purchase, unless some other conditions. And they will charge you for parts after 5 years, which actually isn't that bad of a deal. Like, that's actually pretty solid. And then all the different languages. And then the next card is advertising. Yes. So it has some of the different models. I don't mind this type of marketing. None of these are of any interest to me personally, but I do like seeing other things a company has available, because if I like the company and I like the product I've bought, I want to know where I can find more. We have a Type-C charging cable. At least this better be a Type-C. It'd be absolutely hilarious though if they messed up and gave me something else. But they didn't. It's just a little Type-C cable. It's fairly short. It's like, what, 18 inches probably? It'll do its job, but I mean, the charger for my phone is better in my opinion, so I'll be using that. Like I said, it's got a poo bag with a little key ring in it, whatever. And this last, is this, okay, this is thick. Okay. And I'm not folding this like as tightly as I can, but like, it's most of the thickness of my Swiss Army knife. Come on now. That's ridiculous. Alright. Whoa. Oh, it's going to be a total roadmap. It is a total roadmap. God damn it. And it's not even like that nice paper that you can actually burn. It's that slightly plastic paper, which is just so frustrating. It has all of the different languages. Technical parameters. It has that same sort of little thing that they had on the back as well with all of the distances and how long it expects to be able to run in each, and its waterproof rating and its impact resistance, whatever. Recharge your stored light every 4 months to maintain optimal performance of the battery. That's a good suggestion for anything with a lithium battery in it, lithium ion or lithium polymer. As long as you keep them charged, they usually don't turn into spicy potatoes and kill you. Okay, operating instructions. These are what I actually need. Let's see if they... Little piece of junk plastic. All right, so press and hold switch for half a second to turn on and off the light. I'm assuming this is the switch. 1, 2. They must have stored it without any battery life in it. That's annoying. All right, I'm gonna go charge this. I will be back in a minute. And it's been a little while. We are back, and this guy has been fully charged. So in order to turn it on, like the manual said, you have to hold down this nice little copper button for half a second, and then you get the lowest degree of light. This is actually pretty nice for, especially in the mornings. I wake up before anybody else in my house does, and having just a light so I can find my way around the house without having to turn on all the lights and wake up the dog and the cats, and just, it's a whole mess. I'd rather not do it. Having a soft light like this lets me get around the house without waking anything up. In order to cycle through the modes from there, you simply single tap on the same button. So next mode up, and then all the way to the brightest mode. And then if I want to, you can actually see this is quite a bit of light. And then if you want to go back down, click it again, and it cycles back through the modes for you, which is quite nice. To turn it off, it's a half second. And then if you want it to go red, you hold down for 2 seconds, and then you get a simple red light. Presumably this is good for signaling in an emergency or something similar to that. I have very little use for a red light in my day-to-day, but there you go. Oh, and if you press down a single press, it actually shows you how much battery life you have. So when it's off, it just turns green. That's a full battery. It'll go down to red when it's pretty much out of battery. Back in the red light, and then single press when it's in the red light mode, turns on your SOS signal. Yeah. So this is, of course, a key chain light. Compared to my daily driver flashlight right now, you can see it is quite small. However, that is not the only thing that I think is worth comparing it to, because here are my keys. I have a Ford F-150. As you can see, this pendant is pretty well the same size as my actual key fob. Like, it's right down to similar thicknesses, so it fits very, very nicely onto my keychain and disappears in the pocket, especially if you're using the provided link. It'll actually sit flush against this in the pocket and pretty well disappear into a pocket, which is nice to have. Other thing that I think is worth showing it off next to is a Zippo. And as you can see, it is quite small compared to the Zippo. It takes up less than half the space, and it is right around the same thickness as the Zippo is. I like this thing aesthetically for the most part. There's a few things that I'm not a huge fan of, and they are in order. This graphic up here near the top, and the graphics on the back. I know that the graphics on the back are mandated because it has a lithium battery in it. I understand that. I still, just for personal sake, am not a huge fan, especially on this nice, clean, cool gray aesthetic that the whole thing has going on. I think that this is a very, very nice looking flashlight, and I do think that those sort of subtract from it slightly. The other thing that I'm not a huge fan of that I don't think there's a better way of doing is this rubber cover. You need the rubber cover there in order to provide the waterproofing. So even though I'm not a huge fan necessarily, I do understand why that has to be the case. I think that copper was absolutely the right pick for this light, and I think that putting the battery indicator in the middle of the button was a brilliant idea. It just makes the whole thing look super, super clean. Overall, this is probably not going to replace my daily driver light. It's very nice. It does its job extraordinarily well, but it is a little bit too small to be comfortable holding on to on its own. And when I put it on the keys, it ends up being a little bit floppier. It is something I am going to leave on my keys, but for most tasks, I actually prefer having a full-size pen light. Although I will admit this is quite a bit nicer. Like, I like the way this looks and feels quite a bit more than the pen light. Just when I'm using it for extended periods of time, having something this small in the hand that's want to, get twisted around or so on is a lot less comfortable for me personally than having a pen light that I can just continuously have sat. Pluses and minuses, but as a backup light, this is going to do its job exceptionally well, and it functionally disappears when I don't need it, which is exactly what I want out of a backup tool in general. And having this extreme brightness mode in such a small package is really nice if I need to get inside of something at work. If I'm looking for example, a lost nut or lost washer inside of a product, having a smaller light that I can actually fit around corners is quite nice. So yeah, overall, I definitely do think it's worth the money. It's a wonderful little product, does its job exceptionally well, but it is undersized, in my opinion, to be a primary light. So on balance, I would absolutely recommend picking one of these things up. Great little guy, not quite a full primary, but given its size, I think that was fairly apparent. That's sort of all I have to say about this guy. Stay safe and have fun out there. Peace.